Musa, you need to mute
Unmuted him.
yourself. Yeah, right.
Unmuted them. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, do not unmute yourself until and unless you've got something to say. Otherwise, it disturbs the class. So, if you've got and there's a lot of background noise, Musa, wherever you are sitting, go to a place which is a bit silent. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult for us to go through the class. So, fine, we are meeting again for the second time today, and it's already 7:02. So let's wait for a few minutes, and if we can make Farida a co-host. Farida helps me out.
Yes, I have made her a
Okay,
co-host.
okay, thank you, because then that helps. Mm, right. So okay, uh, let's wait for 2 more minutes, or we can start. We can start with
Yes,
the class.
I think wait for at least 3-4 minutes.
All right, fine.
Okay, let me prepare my writing material.
Musa, please mute yourself.
Hey, I want to go and get
No,
writing
you
material.
you go and get anything. You put off your video and you put off your mic.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. I need to mute him. So, okay.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and meeting for the last time. Hope today. So this is it has been a long day for me, so my energy levels might not be the same. I've had a pretty long day, so let us start with standard deviation. Any questions from the earlier part of the lesson where we did mean deviation and we solved the mean deviation numerical? Any issue with this calculation that we did? Anything which was not clear? Or before this also we calculated the quartile deviation? Anything if not understood, kindly let me know. Is it clear? Okay. So I take I take your silence as in the affirmative that there are no issues. So let's move to standard deviation, and this gentleman on your in the picture is the one who is responsible for us studying standard deviation, and variance, and a lot of other statistics that we are studying. So, what is basically standard deviation? Standard deviation is again a measure of variability, and it's an absolute measure of variability. That means the values that are given to the observations that you are studying, they have meaning, and that is from where the dispersion is being calculated. Now, here again in standard deviation, we are finding out the dispersion from the mean, but the issue is that okay, I've done a lot of writing here, so let me just remove it, and so that it's a bit easy for you to understand. Otherwise, all this remains. And so, what happens when we are talking about standard deviation, and why are we studying standard deviation? Is because uh, let me just now, when we were doing mean deviation, we took modulus of the deviation, and then we summed it up and we took the average. So basically, this is also an average of the deviation with signs ignored because you use the modulus. Now, this is using of modulus is not a very uh, scientific method. Okay, it's not a very scientific method, and this becomes this has been criticized a lot, that you are just taking you're looking at the direction, you're taking the deviation or the dispersion, but you're not looking at the direction of it. So to correct that, what Fisher did was that sorry, Carl Pearson. What Carl Pearson did was that in standard deviation, what we are doing is that we take the average of the squared deviation, or rather we take the root of the average. So we are taking the root of the average of the squared deviation. So what here you are doing is you are finding x minus x bar. Like, the first thing you do is obviously find out the mean, which is summation x by n. So the first step is that you find out the mean, and then from the mean you are taking the difference. You are then squaring up this difference. So whatever difference you got, you squared it up. So basically what you are doing, you are converting, everything into a positive number, but you're doing it mathematically, you're doing it with a mathematical logic, so nobody can question you. So if say for example, I'm writing here, if I write here that my x minus x bar is coming out to be -5, -2, -3, 4, 2, 6, and I take a modulus of this. So then I'm just writing 5, 2, 3, 4, 2, 6. But then this is questionable. What I am doing here is I'm not taking the mod, but I'm just squaring it up. So what I do, I say 25, 4, 9, 16, 4. Okay. So here what is happening is uh, uh, when I'm squaring it up, so this is more correct. Now, but the issue is that when I have squared up, I have increased the value. Like, I have uh, uh, like something which was 5, now becomes 25. Something that was 2 becomes 4. Something that was 3 becomes 9. So I am in I'm increasing the I'm increasing the number. So how do I correct that? How do I correct this increase in the number that I have made? So how do I correct that? So now what I do is that I this is okay. So I am taking the root of it. So when I'm taking the root of it, I'm bringing it back to the same value, but now that same value is a positive. We'll be doing a few numericals for you to understand it much better. So like let us look at the formula here. So the formula here is that we are saying that you use so sorry, something went wrong. All right. Uh, okay. One wrong thing and the entire presentation goes haywire. Okay, so we were. Now here, this is a small sigma. This is known as a small sigma, and we use this to understand that. And we are taking the root of it. So if you're squaring it up, it becomes variance. And this is how you calculate it. A very easy way of doing it is also my thing is getting stuck. Hmm. Okay, so whatever I wrote has gone, but I hope everybody understood what I was trying to tell you people. Uh, Let me do one thing. Uh, I think so the file is becoming too heavy. Give me a second. Okay, so here we were, and I had removed it, but okay, okay, fine. So what here you are doing is either you use this formula or you use this, which is very easy to understand, that is under root d square upon n. D is your x minus x bar square. So that is how you take it. In case of a grouped data, your formula will change a bit. All right. So in case of grouped data, your formula becomes either this that you write, like summation fd square n upon n minus summation fd upon n the whole square. Or you can also take it as summation f d square upon n, the whole under root. So this also can be used where your d is again x minus x bar. So you can use any of the formulas. It comes down to the same thing. All right. So uh, let me remove all this and mm, okay. So this is the numerical that we have. Uh, Now, here are the wholesale prices of a commodity for 7 consecutive days, and the prices are given. They have asked you to calculate variance and standard deviation. So, the first step that you do here is you find out the mean. So, for finding out the mean, we have first done this, which is basically your summation x. So, your summation x is coming out to be 1820, and you divide it by n happens to be 7, taking it of 7 consecutive days. So it comes out to be 7. Your n is 7. So your mean comes out to be 260. What you then do is you find out the difference from each of the observations. So that means you do 240 minus 260, 260 minus 260, 270 minus 260, and so on. So here you get minus 20, here you get 0, you get 10, then minus 15, minus 5, 26, 4. Then you square it up. So that means 20 square is 400, 0 square is 0, 10 square is 100, 225, 25, 676, 16. And then you find out the total. Now, and if we are finding out the variance remains just this. That means you just divide the squared summation by the n and you get your variance. If you take the under root of the same thing, if you take the under root of variance, then it comes to be your standard deviation, which happens to be 14 point, which is 14.352. So basically variance is your standard deviation square, and standard deviation is nothing but under root of variance. So if either of the two are given, you can find the other one. So anything that is given to you, from that you can find out the other one. All right. So okay, now the question is, okay, any issues with the calculation? Any issue with the calculation that we have done here? Anything that you people did not understand? Grace, I hope you are with me.
I'm with you. I'm just not a maths person, but it's making some sense.
Okay, it's
Like I
making
said,
some sense.
practice.
Ah, right, right. You are not a math person. That's the reason I'm asking you that. Okay, and I hope you don't have you have not had a long day as I've had. It has been a good day for you.
Yes, it has. Very peaceful, very quiet.
Okay, kids not at home. I'm presuming that you're married and you have got kids.
Yes. I
Okay.
do have kids, but they're all grown.
Oh, which is a worse, like in terms of statistics, where is the bias more? When you have got little kids or when you have got grown up kids?
Very difficult. But I think when they're a bit grown, not when they're small. It's a lot of work.
Right. Okay. All right. So yeah, this is now the question is that why are we calling standard deviation standard, and like why did we not call mean deviation standard? So what happens is that this diagram that you are seeing, which is an ugly looking diagram that I have made, this is basically called a bell diagram. and this is a normal distribution curve. So when you have the data, it has got different distribution. So you have got a Poisson distribution, binomial distribution, T distribution, normal distribution. Now, in most of the cases in statistics, when we are going ahead with statistics, what we are uh, presuming is that the distribution is normal. Most of the times, that is what we presume, and that is how we go. So, normal distribution is it looks like this. Basically, normal distribution has to satisfy this condition that your mean is equal to median is equal to mode. So if all the three measures of central tendency are equal, then you will have a normal distribution. Now, what do you call normal? Normal basically means that from the center, that is from zero, you have got equal number of observations on either side. So that is what a normal distribution is. So you have this bell-shaped diagram that you are getting. And as I've written here, these flattened out part, they are known as the tail of the distribution, and this is the body of the distribution. Now, what happens with standard deviation is that if we are talking about standard deviation, then you have got, if you add and subtract mean plus minus one standard deviation, 66% of your observations are covered. If you take mean plus minus two standard deviation, then 95% of your observations are covered. And if you have mean plus minus three standard deviation, then 99% of your observations are covered. So it means that here the green line is one standard deviation, the blue line is two standard deviation, and the black line that you are seeing where it is written 3, so that is 3 standard deviation, and that is like, so that means you are covering, when you are taking standard deviation, you are what standard deviation says is that if you are taking it, like, because you have taken that deviation or the dispersion you have calculated from the mean, that is from the average that you have calculated. So what we are saying here is that from the average, when you are moving plus minus 1, plus minus 2, or plus minus 3, then you are covering your entire range of the data. So the entire observations are covered. So that means whatever dispersion that you're talking about is about all the observations. So nothing is left to chance, or nothing is missed from from the list of observations. So even if you have got, say, you are having big data, so somebody who is a data analyst and who is working with a lot of data, especially big data, if you're talking about something like, say, you have data in millions or billions, if you're having those data, then even then, if you're finding out the average and you are taking the standard deviation, then you are covering the entire gamut of observations that you have. So that's the reason that it is called a standard deviation. That's the reason that we give so much of importance to standard deviation. So again, so that is how that has been explained. And then you have got something called skewness. This is again a measure of uh, but okay, before I move to skewness, let me tell you one more thing. Let me talk to you about okay. Can you people see my screen?
Yes, we can, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I don't know, something goes amiss, and okay. And my PPT gets stuck. Either my pad is acting up, because of which, yeah, right. Okay, so it's because of the pad. The writing pad is creating issues. but it's a very good device. Uh, Handy. All right. So let me talk to you about something called coefficient of variation. This is known as CV. We call it CV. In short, like you'll always find CV written. This is what this is mean by standard deviation into 100. This is a this is a relative measure of dispersion, and this is very much used whenever we want to make comparisons. So when you have heterogeneity in your data, and like again, let me take Grace's example, the company that Grace works for. So here she has got different categories of customers. If we like in the last class while we were talking, we spoke about the four categories that she has. That people who do for 2 kwacha, then 5, then she said 10, then we talked about 20, and then there were people with 50 and 100. So but we made four categories out of that, and that is how we said that she has got the customers. Now if she has found out, say supposingly she finds out like this is one group, this is one group, this is one group. So she finds out the average over here, and then she finds a standard deviation here. Similarly, she finds an average here, and she finds a standard deviation. She finds now, ideally, you cannot compare these three groups because the paying capacities are different and things are different. So you cannot compare a person who recharges their mobile with 100 kwacha with a person who is just recharging their mobiles with 2 kwacha. So what you do is you then, like here, if we find out uh, CV, then all the three become comparable. If I calculate my CV, then it makes all the groups comparable. So then I'll have CV1, I'll have CV2, I have CV3, and all of them then become comparable for me. Uh, then you have got something called skewness. This is again a measure of dispersion, which is basically this is how you estimate your skewness, mean minus mode upon standard deviation. It is just telling you, one, it tells you whether the distribution is normal or not, and it tells you about the spread of the data. How spread out the data is. So from there you can make a lot of interpretations there as well. I won't go into a lot of details because I know you people are not students of research, but you're students of statistics who are wanting to do some you wanting to learn some statistics, right? So any doubts till here, any questions here till here, anything that you have not understood regarding standard deviation? Please, you can note it down that standard deviation is one of the best tools of dispersion. So, if you're doing it for your company in which you are working, if you're finding out dispersion there, then go for a standard deviation instead of going for a mean deviation. And your data analysts in your companies would also be using standard deviation, and they would be finding out the coefficient of variation, and they'll be doing it from there. So yeah, my suggestion is that go for that. Any questions here, any questions so far? Otherwise I'll move to the next topic. Any questions? All right. Yes, yes, go ahead. Akim, go ahead. You raised your hand.
It was by mistake.
Okay, no issues. All right, no issues. Akim, you are from which country?
Malawi.
Okay, so Grace and you all are from the same. No, Grace is not from Malawi. Sorry. Farida is from Malawi. Yes, Asad, go ahead. Asad, you have raised your hand. Okay, he's left the meeting. Uh, okay, okay. Let us move to our next topic, which is this is the next block that we have. So this is the third block that I'm starting, which is basically about sampling. So let me start that. Okay, so we'll be talking about sampling questionnaires and time series data. We'll try to cover as much as we can today. Otherwise, we have other classes, so we'll be doing there as well. So we'll discuss the various methods of sampling, the formation of questionnaire, and of course, discuss and debate about time series data. Now, what is sampling? Sampling, as you can see from this picture, you have a bigger circle with a lot of people, and then you have got a smaller circle with very few people. So what you are doing is you are from the population. The bigger circle, the green circle, is your population, and from there you are taking a small sample of it. You're taking a part of it, and then your study will be related. It will be from the sample that you will be doing. So now, why do you do sampling? The very simple reason, it's cost and time efficient, or it requires very less time. It requires very less money as compared to census. If you are studying the entire population, that is known as a census study, census, census. Like your country must be doing census for the population, for the demographics. Every 10 years the government does a census. So but like you and me, like all of you who are working in companies or in academia, we do a lot of research work where we need to speak to a lot of people, but then we don't have the money to speak to everybody, so then we take a sample and we do it. Second, we are saying that if the testing is destructive in nature, then it is better to test on a sample. So like if you are you have got the bombs, the nuclear weapons which are being tested, so that is always a sample test that you do. You never go out and carry out an entire you do not fire an entire missile and see that how it works. You do a sample testing, because otherwise you know that how bad it is. Then again, if the population is mobile, then to sampling is better. Okay, let me come back to okay, I have a lot of people who have joined in. Okay, the numbers are much higher right now than in the morning. Uh Masumba, if I can have you.
Yes.
Uh your country is predominantly a tribal country?
I would say tribes play a part, yes.
All right. Is there a difference between the customers who are tribes and who are non-tribes? Is there a difference in the pattern of their spending?
Um, well, to that extent, just a moment.
Yeah, no issues. Your daughter is there. I do understand everybody's taking a class from home. So, yeah, no issues.
All right. Out, no, from the business that we're doing, new vehicle sales, part sales, and service sales, I would not necessarily say tribes play a part.
Okay.
However, from the customers, when you go into whether corporations, whether it's either corporates, either government or individual customers, at some point you also get to interact with the final user of the car.
Right.
So at that point, then you can notice a certain you get to notice certain things, trace. Most customers that are buying are coming from this particular tribe. So that tells you also that most maybe it's when it comes to education, this tribe has more educated people than that tribe.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. That is what I wanted to hear because okay, let me give you you people an example from the studies that I do. Uh, now, because I am a social scientist, I'm an economist by my profession, like a teacher and an economist. So what we do a lot of studies, uh, a lot of ethnographic studies also we carry out. Now, uh, if in case like in terms of India, I'm talking. I don't know about your countries. In my countries, there are a lot of tribes that are very mobile in nature. They do not stay at one place. They keep on shifting. You'll find them for 2 3 years in one area, and then they'll shift to some other area, and then they'll stay there for again 2 3 years, 5 years, and then again they keep moving. They keep shifting. Now, if you are doing a study on these people, on these tribes, and you want to find out certain, like one of my scholar, he is doing an ethnographic study on mm, uh, he's doing ethnographic studies on the Kashmiri tribes. Kashmir is one of the states of India, and there he's doing so. He was wanting to find out the financial inclusion of the tribes and the non-tribes. So it was very difficult for us to carry out the survey because people kept moving. So it for us it was very very important that we just did sampling and not the population, because that one, we did not have the funds to do it. Second, it would have been very difficult because they kept moving from one area to another. So that is what I mean when I read that if the population is mobile, then two sampling is better. So that's the reason I asked about tribes, because in India we have not all the tribes, we have got certain tribes which keep shifting from one area. I don't know about your countries, how in your countries how the tribes are behaving. I do not know about that, but yes, in my country that this is how it happens, right? So okay. Uh, all right. So this is again from India. I've taken an example. I don't know how much it resonates with you. Like in India, we have got a few states where alcohol sale and consumption is banned. Like you cannot sell alcohol. Consumption is like you can't stop the consumption as much as you can. Like it's easier to put a ban on the sales. So they have put a, though it's a huge loss to the exchequer, government exchequer, but yeah, there are few states which have banned alcohol. So we even in the states where alcohol is allowed, at the where you have got places of worship, near that you cannot sell or consume alcohol. So like you want to conduct a survey on that. So then what you will do, you cannot go to all the bar owners. No, you cannot do that. You cannot go to all the alcohol shops and do that. So what you do is you just take a sample, you just take a part of it, and then you find out that okay, uh, so this is just an example. So I said that you then report that 93% of all they want the prohibition to be repealed. Obviously, if you're talking to the sellers, they would want it to be repealed. There are so many other different examples of sampling. Like a lot of my scholars are working on sampling. I don't know, like you people are also working on samples, if I'm not mistaken. Let me speak to somebody with whom I have not spoken so far. Uh, There is Musa Farooq, Musa Umar Farooq. Musa,
Esma.
yeah. So, Musa, did we speak yesterday? No, I don't think so. Did I speak to you?
No, ma.
Okay, so Musa, you're from which country?
I'm from Nigeria.
And what do you do?
Currently, I'm doing my NYC,
What is that?
National Youth Service.
Okay,
Um,
that's a military service?
no, just 1 year serving to the nation after graduating from your BSc.
Okay, all right. So, you do not have any job experience?
Ma?
You have a job experience? Work
Not really.
experience? Not really. Okay. All right. No issues. Thank you. Thank you, Musa.
Thank you,
Right.
ma.
Yeah, right. So we can Vasant is in Vasant, you told me yesterday that you have done a few surveys for the state. You have participated.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
You did a population survey or you did a sample survey?
I did population survey in my locality.
That means you did census. You went to each and every
We did
household.
yes, we did the population census. Yes.
Was it the population census of the country, like where the teachers are given the task of collecting the data? Is that how it
Yes,
works?
mostly teachers get them. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because that is how it works in India as well. So,
Okay,
okay,
right.
all right. Have you done any sample study?
Some not what when I was given the task to do it, we don't know it was samples. No.
Okay, so you are a school teacher. You told me yesterday.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay, so what subject do you teach?
I teach English, French, mathematics.
Okay.
Yeah.
A multifaceted person. So
Yeah.
if you want to know if you want to get a feedback on your mathematics teaching, how do you get that?
We get that through testing a small test,
Okay, doing a small test.
a small assessment with the students. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you want to do it for the entire country, then how do you do that?
If I have to do for the entire country, then at all other schools,
Mm.
we do it like how do you say we pick a few
Yeah, so
kids from
that means you do a sample study. That means you're
oh,
picking up
right,
a
okay,
few.
okay,
Yeah, so
okay, that's good.
that
Yeah,
is what sampling is, because that
yes, it's
it's
very
not
good.
in
Yeah,
your
yeah,
school. It is possible that you give it to all the students and they do it, but
yeah.
for your entire country, that's not possible. It's a time consuming and a money
Yeah,
consuming.
yeah, okay, right. I see where you're coming from. Yeah, 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 good.
Yeah,
You
so
see, yeah,
you
yeah, we will go for a sample and then
yes. So that is what
get
sampling
a
is.
bit
Yeah,
more.
that is what
Yeah,
sampling is all about.
yes,
And
ma'am.
right. Though it's a very tedious process, like it takes a lot of time,
Hmm.
even to do a sample study. It's okay. So now, how do you go about a sampling? So then, what you do is, yeah, you want to say something? Okay. Uh,
Ma'am.
yeah, somebody has put on the mic. Want to say something?
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, go ahead.
With regards to the sampling,
Hmm.
here at the non-profit, normally at our department, what we do after distribution, for example,
Hmm.
we send surveyors for post-distribution monitoring. So we give them targets. Okay, go to 10 households and ask them of how they feel about the products we give to them. So
Hmm.
can you regard that as sampling also?
Yes, that is again sampling, because you have given them a target of only 10 households. So everybody goes to 10 households, and then you do it. So you're not doing it for the entire population. So that's a sampling again,
Okay.
right? Now, now how do you draw the sample? Like, how do you get a sample? So this entire task, like this entire procedure, this was developed by a gentleman called PC Mahalnobis from India. And he did the like he came out with this entire sampling thing in 1950s. He did that, and it's the same procedure that we follow till date, and not only in our country, all over the world. The entire world follows what PC Mahalnobis came out with. So now in sampling, when you are doing your sampling, what happens is you have got a sampling frame. You have got the population, that means, and from the population you have to draw a part of it. So the thing is that what what is the objective? First of all, you have defined your problem, and then you want to know what is the objective for which you want to do it. So like you said, Mohammed, that it's about the product, that you want a feedback on the product. Vasant would be wanting to find out the skills of the mathematical skills of the students in schools. Grace might want to know about, again, her the product that she's customizing for her customers. So all so it's basically the objective that you're talking about, and from there you draw it. So you have a sampling process, and you find out, you draw a frame. That means you say that, okay, my sample has to be representative of the population, because if my sample is not representative of the population, then I cannot make any generalization. Kindly remember that your sample has to represent the population. It has to represent the population, and whatever result you're getting from the sample will be generalized on the population. That means, for example, if Vasant is doing on mathematical skills, he is doing a survey, he's carrying out a survey on, say, 1200 students from his country, and he gives them a questionnaire to fill, and he sends enumerators, he sends people to collect the data, and he gives them small problems, and these enumerators, they observe that how much time the student is taking to solve that problem. If they increase the difficulty level of the numerical, then what happens? So they have got different criterias, different parameters on which they are testing the students. So from these 1200 students, they find out that 930 students have above average skills. They have got above average skills. So that means you can always calculate the percentage. So if let's very quickly find out the percentage of 930 in 1200. So that's 77.5%. So that means 77.5% of the sampled students are good in maths, or they're above average in mathematics. So then when he gives a report, his report will say that 77.5% of the students of his country have got above average mathematical skills. So that means if this result gets published, you're from Mauritius, you're from Maldives. I got confused.
Mauritius, ma'am.
Mauritius. Okay. So that
Yeah.
means if this data gets published, if I meet another Mauritian, I will presume that that person is good in mathematics because his report is showing that 77.5%. That means more than 3/4 of the students are good in mathematics. So that's the reason we say that your sample has to represent the population that is there. That's very, very important for us. So how do you choose it? I won't go here. Okay, now if the population is homogeneous, that means they are of the same variety, they are of the same type, then it's easy. Then it's easy peasy because you have got nothing to do. You have got the population. You pick out samples. You do a random sampling, their probability sampling, and you just say that okay, you give an order that pick up every 10th student, pick up every 20th student, and like take the roll numbers from the schools. Go to the roll numbers, take the registration numbers or the roll numbers, and just pick that every 20th student, and you go and speak to them. But is that so easy? Are the students homogeneous? No, they are not. What happens is that they are heterogeneous. Your population for anything is heterogeneous. Any product that you're talking about, anything that you're talking about, they are always there's a heterogeneity in it. That means that there is a difference. Now, when there is this heterogeneity in the population, what we need to do is we need to convert this this heterogeneous population into homogeneous population. How do you do that? You make clusters, you make stratas. You draw clusters from there, you make stratas, and then you go for population sample. You go for sampling there. So what we are doing, we are saying that you define the population, you determine the sampling frame, you determine the sampling procedure, which are these simple, random, stratified, cluster, systematic, multi-stage. Now this is again probability sampling. You also have non-probability sampling, which is convenience sampling, judgmental quota, snowball sampling, and then you determine the appropriate size, and then you go for the design, like you go for data collection and stuff. So the question here is of the first okay, let us do a very small exercise in the class. Who is going to volunteer? I want a volunteer. Who's going to volunteer? I don't want to pick up out a name. I want a volunteer. Yeah. Who is going to volunteer in the class? Anybody? You want me to
I'd like to, but I'd like to give the chance to my other colleagues.
You can do random sampling.
I can do random sampling. Okay, Usman, good one. Good one. Why don't I go? I don't want to do a random sampling. Let me go with a non-probability sampling. Let me go with convenience. Grace, would you be gracious enough to participate? Is she there? Is she not there? I can see her.
Let me volunteer.
Okay, you Mohammed. Okay, Mohammed. Good. Thank you so much. Right. So let me go back here and all right. Now, Mohammed, what is the product that you are selling?
Sorry.
What is the product that your company sells?
I'm with the non-profit.
You're with a non-profit. You said yesterday that you do a lot of this data collection work.
Yes, but for non-profit,
Okay, for
non-governmental.
non-profit, non-governmental. Okay, so you collect data on, say, poverty, hunger, these things. Do you cover? Do you cover data
Yes, yes, particularly hunger scale.
for particularly hunger? Okay, how many states do you have in your country? How many states?
We have 36 states.
36 states. Okay. Uh, you are from Nigeria, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Okay, right. So we were talking about Nigeria here. So there are 36 states. Now, what Muhammad can do is, one, he can distribute the entire, because, like, again, the population size is greater than 1 million. So there is, like, if he goes with probability sampling, his number would come out to be, the sample size would come out to be 384. There is a formula given by Cochran. So if we use that formula, it will come out to be 384, 386. Now, there can be chances that some people might not respond, or the response might not be like, it might not be very clear. So we say that we go with a sample size of 500 people. So now he has got to sample 500 people from 36 states. Now, Muhammad, how do you select these 500 people from 36 states? You've got 36 states and you have sample of 500. How do you go about it?
You divide it by 36.
Wrong answer, dear. Why it's a wrong answer? I'll tell you. Huh? It's otherwise you'll say that, okay. Now what he said, that's the most common most common error that we make. Are all the 36 states uh, say, like, alike, Mohammed? All are all the same?
No.
Ma'am, let me give you the trial.
Yes, please go ahead.
There are 36 states in Nigeria. Sorry, my background is a little bit crowded.
Oh, it's okay. Go
There
ahead.
are 36 states in Nigeria.
Mhm.
There is, and these the 36 states are divided into 4 geographical zones. There is
Oh,
north, east, south, and west. So when you're
okay.
going to sample,
Mm,
when you're doing the sampling,
mm,
maybe you'll divide the country based on the geographical distribution, maybe the north, the south, and the west and east. So you sample, let me say, 3 states out of the north, 3
mm,
states out of the south, 3
mm,
states out of the west, and 3 states out of the southeast, west, and north. So this is how, to
yeah.
me, this is how is going to be done.
Uh, all
By gathering
right.
information from the northwest, southeast, maybe you might probably
Huh?
have what you want.
All right. Very good answer. That is one thing that you can do, is what she said, that you divide it into geographical zones, and you take, like, you have got, of course, out of the 36 states, you I don't know, like, I'm just Mohammed, how many states in the northern zone? How many districts in the sorry, how many states in the northern zone, roughly?
The north part, the
Uh,
north part is divided northeast, northwest, and north central.
all three combined, how much, how many states?
We have like 18 or something.
18.
It's
Okay.
19.
Okay, it's 19. All right. We get
Yeah.
it. Okay. In South,
17.
so and no, okay, East and West has got nothing. because then 19 plus 17 becomes 36.
No, the north is divided into three. We have northeast, north central, and northwest.
Okay, okay. Now, like for me, generally the geographical zones don't work because again there is an issue there. What I would, because he is working on hunger, what I would suggest is that he divides these 36 states on the basis of per capita income. Because I suppose per capita income is available for each state, Mohammed. I'm assuming that it is available.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so you divide the states and then you take you have from the per capita income. Now you go for proportionate. You go for a proportionate thing that out of the 36 states, how many are having, like you can find out a median per capita income, and you can say that how many above it and how many below it, how many states below it. Then you can go for a proportionate that out of, okay, if say supposingly there are 15 states which are above it, and there are um the remaining 21 states are below it. So you've got more states below the number. So what you do is you divide your 500 into 21 by 36, and you have got 500 into 15 by 36, and that is how you take the samples. Now from here, like that will be give you that will give you the sample size. Now again, from these 21 states, which to pick up? So you say that I pick up the highest 3 states and I pick up the lowest 3 states. Nobody can question you with this methodology. And so you take 3. So then whatever number you got here, let us do a very quick mathematics here, and let's see how it works. 500 into 21 divided by 36. So this comes out to be 292. And of course, 500 minus 292 comes out to be 208, which is not the right way, I suppose. Okay, yeah, okay, 208. Okay, right, fair enough. So 208. So now from these 3 states, he has to take 292. And from these 3 states, he has 208. He can then take the population of these 3 states. And again, he can go for proportionate, or he can take equal number of samples from each of these 3 states. So this is how you do your, this is the sampling framework that you have created, the sampling design, not the framework. This is the sampling design that you have, and then you go for which type of sampling do you want. So like basically what we spoke about probability sampling, and we talked about non-probability. This is a more scientific one. Obviously this is more scientific because it doesn't have, there is no bias or very less bias. This becomes biased because this is very subjective in nature. This is very subjective. So this becomes very the biasness increases in the non-probability sampling as compared to probability sampling. Does this make some sense to you people, Mohammed? Is it clear to you and the others?
Yes, ma'am, it's clear. As for
Okay.
me, the
Huh.
method we adopt to make our
Huh.
sampling is we send enumerators with
Mm.
questionnaires and surveys. So they interview you individually. For example, if we are targeting 1,000 beneficiaries in a particular area, then
Mm.
we'll send them target of 1,200. So based on the hunger scale and the question they will ask, after they return, we upload it to the server and do the analysis and choose 1,000 out of this 1,200 based on hunger scale.
Based on?
Hunger scale.
Okay, home gut scale. Okay, all right, all right. That is again probability sampling. That is again you, and then you must be giving it to them that which households to visit.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
Yeah, so that is again your probability sampling that you're doing. We do this the um, this what I talked to you. This is something that we do a lot. This methodology, we adopt this probability sampling a lot, and that this is how we get it. All right. So any which method you are using for probability sampling. Now, what random sampling basically means is that when each variable, or each not variable, rather each observation in the variable has got equal chances of getting selected in the sample. If that is happening, then that is known as a simple random sample. That is what random means. Random doesn't mean that I pick up anybody randomly. That is not random sampling. Random sampling has got a method to the madness. So this is one like you have got tippet table. Nowadays, previously people used to use tippet table a lot, but now you have your Excel, and you have got a function called random, and it gives you that it helps to pick up the random sample, and you can go about it and do that. So that is that. And then you have got stratified. So stratified, you can from the example here, the figure that is there, you can find out, like you can understand that we are dividing the population on the basis of their ethnicity. So you've got the Caucasians, you've got the Afro Americans, you've got the Hispanic Americans, and so these are basically, again, as I said earlier, that you have got a heterogeneous thing, and from heterogeneity, from an heterogeneous population, you are making them into homogeneous population. So that is what the strata is doing. That is what the stratification is doing. That these are basically the subsamples or the sub parts of the main population. So you are making those strata. So from then, like you've got three here, you've got the Caucasians, you've got the Afro Americans, and you've got the Hispanic Americans, and then from each group you pick out people. So then that is stratified sampling. Then you've got cluster is more of a geographical thing as compared to strata. Here, like again, as the example, the figure is showing you that you are dividing it into zones. What she was talking about, that the northwest, north, south, east, west, the zones that you have. So that is clustering, and then from each cluster you are picking up the things. You are picking up samples. Then you've got systematic random sampling. Systematic is basically you put all of them in order, and then you pick up every nth number, which is also the skip interval method, or the systematic random sampling. That okay, I go to the every third person, like in this picture, it's every third person that we are going. Every like in case of hmm, uh, okay, problem with the names. Like if like you are working in a shop, you have got your shop, or you have got an office, and you say that okay, today you just ask the guard, or the person at the door. You just ask that person that okay, here are a set of questions, and every fifth customer who is entering into this shop or into the office, kindly ask them to fill this questionnaire. So that is again, that is systematic random sampling that you're doing, that you're pulling out people and asking from them. And this is multi-stage sampling. This is what actually we do. We generally don't do just simple random sampling, or we do not do stratified or cluster sampling, or it's a mix of all of them. So what multi-stage sampling is, that it is being carried out in stages, and you are like you make stratas. From the stratas you go to clusters, from the clusters you go to systematic, and then you do random sampling from there. So like you basically, you are narrowing it down, because you cannot cover a large part. So what you do is you start taking like you try to break it down into smaller units, and then from the last unit you are picking out your sample. So that is multi-stage sampling, and that is what we actually do in our things. Then comes non-probability sampling. Okay, now any doubt? Any doubt so far? Anything which you people have not understood? Anything which you have
No,
not?
ma'am, all good. Thanks.
All good, all good, all right. Okay, Vasant, what's the time in your country? 8, something near 8?
1842.
1842. Okay, so that's
Yeah.
642. All right. Right. It's 8:12 here in India. And is it cold, Vasant, at your place? It's very cold out here in my place.
No, here we are. It's a rainy season. We're in summer.
Okay, you are in summer. Okay.
Yeah.
And
So in end of December till end of March, we have summer,
okay.
and then there's high probability of heavy rainfall and cyclones.
Destructive.
Yeah. No, not much. Sometimes it can be if people are careless or something.
Okay.
But then generally they're okay. Yeah.
All right, that's great. And what about Africa? How's the weather in your part? In Africa right now, it's summers, autumn. What is it? Okay, everybody is
Summer,
doing
actually.
something. Yeah, Mohammed.
Summer.
It's summer. It's hot.
Yes, hot.
Okay.
Yes, it's very hot in Nigeria.
What's the temperature, Musa?
Temperature is about 37 degrees Celsius.
Okay, all right. Come to my part of the world, and I'll show you what summer is with 45 degrees. Right, you can come to my part, and I'll show you what summer is. All my African students, they crib when they're in the summers. They say that it's too hot. We have never seen so hot, and they crib in the winters as well, because they have not seen such chilly weather. So it's around about like today, I suppose it's around about 6-7 degrees. So yeah. Or it might be more than 6-7 degrees, feeling like 6-7, because it's raining, it's winter and it's raining, so it's bad here. All right, coming back to our sampling and non-probability sampling. So non-probability sampling is basically just the opposite of probability sampling. That means that here you are not giving a chance to every observation to be a part of the sample. You are cherry picking your sample. That means you are going for a convenient form of sampling. And as I said, that this is very subjective in nature, and that's the reason that there is a high chance of you like a bias getting into it. And why do we then do, like, if there is a bias, why do we go for non-probability sampling? Under what conditions do we go for non-probability sampling? Under what conditions do we can we go for non-probability sampling? Come on.
I think there are situations where for the particular research you're doing, you actually you specifically know the people that would give you the information. So
okay, give me an example.
For instance, a situation whereby you had given an example of conducting a research, something to do with ask maybe how addicts deal with after effects of, you know.
Good, great, bravo. Uh, right. So yes, whenever you have got such issues which are where you know that people are not going to respond to your questions if you go and ask them publicly, or you pick them up randomly. So like if you go and ask people that do you do drugs, obviously a person would say no. So there like addictions are there, uh, like religion can be one another area where people will not be very happy telling you about their beliefs and their disbeliefs. Sexual orientation may be another thing, or even sexual problems can be another thing. Then you can have if you're talking in terms of management, then there are certain decisions which only the upper level of the management are making. So the lower people at the lower levels cannot answer you those things. So there again you have to go for convenience sampling. So there can be a lot of issues where problems or research areas where people might not be very happy giving you those answers. So then what you do is you go for convenience sampling, quota sampling, snowball sampling, or purposive sampling. uh, so okay, the answer is given here, so that doesn't. Okay, so here like we are talking about that you have got uh, in IGNU we have got say 50,000 students, the organization from where you are now doing your course, and 396 is your sample size, which we have increased to 425. So okay, we have already done this, so doesn't we need not do. I don't need to talk to you about these things. So we now straight away come to question. Okay, just a brief about uh, convenience sampling. Convenience sampling is just picking up people at your own convenience. You are just talking to people with whom it's easy to get your answer. So that is like generally what we find that when we ask our students to carry out, like the undergrad students, when we ask them to carry out some data work we give them, generally they go out and they ask their friends to fill those questionnaires, or they ask their family members to fill that. And you ask them that why did you ask these people to fill, and the answer that they give you is that it was easy for us to ask them to get it. Quota sampling will be where you're like you have got a quota, as Mohammed was saying that okay fine, we give everybody a quota, that okay you need to go and do that. So you take a quota sampling, and that is how you want to do it. So you just go to that particular area and you get it done. Snowball sampling is what we were talking about, addictions. Like you speak to somebody, and then from that somebody you get a lead about some other people, and from those some other people you get lead for some other people. So that is how you do it. Or say supposingly you are wanting, it's not just about addiction. Say supposingly you're wanting to work on some musical instrument which is not so easily found now, or not many people are playing that instrument. So you know a few people who are playing it, so you go and speak to them, and from them you get a reference that okay, go to this city and there are these five more people who play this instrument, so you go to them. So that's a snowball sampling. A purpose of sampling is where you've got a purpose, and you just call those people whom you know are aware of those facts and figures, or who can throw some light on that problem. So we have got those focus group interviews there, and we have got the Delphi method there, and yeah, so we use that a lot. And uh, whenever we want to do qualitative research, we use these things extensively, right? So we do them, we use them a lot. Okay, coming to the questionnaire, which is we also call it an instrument, right? We also call it the instrument of for our research. So basically, a questionnaire is a tool that you have for collecting information to describe, compare, or explain an event or situation, as well as knowledge, attitudes, behaviors, socio-demographic characteristics, or a particular on a particular target group. So from some people, you want to get those answers. So you prepare a questionnaire and you go to them and you collect the data. So now, how do you administer those questionnaires? So Mohammed was talking about enumerators. So you've got those people who collect, like you pay them and they collect the data for you. You can self administer, like by mail or by personal contact. It can be face to face, it can be telephonic interviews that you are conducting. Nowadays we don't go for much of telephonic interviews. We use Google Forms a lot nowadays. I don't know, Mohammed, do you, in your country, you people use a lot of Google Forms? Mohammed? Am I audible?
Yes, you
Yes.
are.
Yes,
Okay,
you are.
okay, all
Okay.
right. I
Yes,
thought
ma'am.
that, yeah, because he was not responding, so I thought that I'm talking to a black wall, vacuum I'm talking to. Grace, she's not responding to me. She said too many questions. Farida,
Yes, I'm here.
yeah, you're here. Thank you for that. Farida, do you people give Google Forms to your customers? You send them, like you mail them Google Forms?
No, for us, we don't do that. Uh, we
Okay.
use questionnaires as in written on our notepad, so the
Uh,
people do fill those forms.
okay. So you give them a physical copy of it and they fill it for you.
Yes, that's what we do.
All right, great. In India, we are using a lot of Google Forms, especially when it comes to behavioral studies, when we want to find out the behavior of the people. So there we do a lot of, we are using a lot of Google Forms nowadays, though not very effective in most of the cases, because you might receive, like somebody might receive a Google form, and it's not necessary that they are going to answer you or respond to you. So then what happens, like what usually is being done is that it is sent to a large number of people, and then from there you get some answers from some people. Or like if you can identify the uh, a target group, if that the target group is identified, then then Google Form works very well, because then you, like, say supposedly you want to collect data only from the teachers, so then you send it to all the teachers from the various schools or from the various colleges, like at what level you are wanting to talk to them. So yeah, you do that, and you you send them the questionnaires, you send the Google Forms to them, like basically. And the advantage with Google Forms is that you the data collection becomes very easy, because when you get those responses, you can get those all those responses in an Excel sheet. And your calculations and other things become very, very easy. So that's the reason that Google Forms are now used much more as compared to those physical ones, as Farida was telling us. Yeah, but in a lot of cases, you need to, like, the government organizations, whatever research, like, not research, whatever data that the government agencies are collecting, that is always through those physical forms. Like they send you they send those hard copies. Like they've got their enumerators who go out with the hard copies and they get it filled, or observation methods are used. Like you go with a set of questionnaire, a set of questions, the surveys the surveys basically what are done, and then you go and basically, what is the difference between a questionnaire and a survey? Is there a difference, Muhammad? Is there a difference between a questionnaire and a survey? Yes. Is there a difference between a questionnaire and a survey?
I think there is.
What is the difference, Grace? Thank God for responding.
I think
You had gone somewhere?
no. I've been here.
Okay. All right. Yeah. What's the difference?
I'm thinking a questionnaire from my experience. I think a questionnaire is written, and a survey can be written as well, and can be like answered verbally. But I think a questionnaire is the written one. That's how you
Okay.
distinguish them.
Okay.
Yes, can I say something?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think questionnaire. Questionnaire, you administer questions, random question, or like open answer question or close answer question to people, and then you collect the data, then you analyze. While survey, you then need to administer
Yeah. Go ahead.
such questions to people. That's it.
Sorry.
Yes,
Yeah.
I said
And survey?
in question and survey, you don't need to administer such kind of questions. You only use like I don't know, you just collect the data but not administering the data.
Can I try, ma'am?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I think
Can I try?
I think
survey, when you're doing a survey,
when
you
you're
one
doing a
of the
survey,
options that
you
you have
one of the
Wow. Wait.
wait.
Either Vasant, you
Either
speak or
Vasant,
Philip
you
speak.
speak or Philip speak.
Yes.
Yeah, Philip, go ahead.
Yeah,
Then
Philip, go
Vasant
ahead.
can speak.
Then Vasant can speak.
Okay. I think there is a difference between a questionnaire and a survey. Now, a survey usually is a set of questions that you ask, while a questionnaire rather is a written set of questions that you ask, while a survey is both set of the questions and then the process involved in collecting and analyzing the responses from the question asked. So they are two different things.
Okay.
Okay.
Vasant?
Vasant?
Yes, ma'am. I
Yes,
think
ma'am.
when you do a
I think
survey,
when you do a survey,
one of
one know the
ways that you do is use a
ways that
questionnaire in a
use a
survey.
questionnaire
Philip,
in a survey.
Philip, please mute
Philip,
yourself.
please mute yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, Vasant, go ahead.
So yeah, so I think we in surveys we use questionnaires.
Acha.
Questionnaires are a way to do surveys. I think that's my opinion. Thanks.
Okay. Akim has also raised his hand. Let us hear him. Yes, Akim. Akim, you have raised your hand. Okay. Usman has also raised his hand. Usman, go ahead.
For the questionnaire, set of questions, maybe written or in through Google. and normally need feedback in questionnaire. Well, observation is just to observe. It's not necessarily to people to know what you are doing when you are observing something. So observation doesn't need feedback, while the questionnaire is need the feedback.
Okay, all right. Anybody else? Anybody else who wants to give it a try? Okay, Usman has already tried. All right. Basically, there is a difference. Now, survey is a much broader term as compared to questionnaire. Questionnaire is a part of it. Questionnaire is basically the written questions that you have, which are arranged in a systematic manner, and where and you can use whatever, like you can use a Google form for it. You can use a a copy for it. You can carry your tabs with you, and you can just keep answering them, putting it in the tab, and then it goes to your server. Whatever, that can vary. Surveys is it's a much broader term, which includes your questionnaire as well. And survey is basically the entire process that you are doing of collecting the data, processing the data, analyzing the data. So a survey is a much broader thing as compared to your questionnaire is question. And a lot of people also say that questionnaire is something where you are just dealing with an individual, and survey you are dealing with a large group of people. um, Questionnaire is basically a questionnaire that you have is basically an instrument. It's the tool that you are using to collect the data. Survey is the process that is there. So that is basically the difference between a questionnaire and a survey. Right, so yeah. uh, so let's move ahead, and see what are there. And you have got those focus areas as well. So this is another way of collecting the information, where you have uh, the focus areas that we are talking about, that before you collect the data from anybody, you need to take them into confidence. Like, you need to let them know that this is the information that is being shared is for research purpose. It won't be used otherwise, and there won't be any compromise on the privacy of the people, because they might be sharing a lot of their personal information, like their phone numbers, their email IDs, their addresses, which are very personal information. So you assure them that these things won't be shared by with anybody. So that is how it is, because it all depends on how you ask the question, and how you administer the questionnaire, because otherwise you might have a very good instrument in your hand, but you might not get the desired results. So that can happen as well. So the context to the questions is that you have to identify the purpose for which you are carrying out the survey. Like, why are you doing it? That has to be very clear. It has to be very specific. That, okay, I want to check the mathematical skills of the students. I want to know the poverty status of the people. I have to be very clear about it. I want to know the poverty status of females in the country. So I am making it very clear that I'll be doing a gender based study, where I'll be just talking about the females. I won't be talking about the males. Then you clarify the terms that are used in the questionnaires, because many a times you might be using a technical term, or you might be using a term in a different connotation, having a different connotation than what it generally has. So you have to make people understand that, okay, look, this is the reference to the context, that if we are using this term, it means this here, nothing more and nothing less. Again, the objective has to be very clear, that again, you can say it's a repetition of the first point. and then you know your respondents. This is again so important when you're talking about questionnaires, that you know about the people, uh, the people that you're talking to, the people you're going to interact with. You should be knowing those respondents very well, because if you do not know the respondents, you like, I might be doing a survey on the premium brand of handbags, and I go and talk to people who would have to spend around about 6 months of the salary to get one of those handbags. Doesn't make sense. So if I want to, if I'm doing a survey on the premium brands of handbags, then I need to go and talk to those that niche clientele, like to that niche category of people who can afford those bags. So it has to be that you need to know the respondents very well. Then how do you standardize it? Standardize your entire process of the questionnaires that you are having. So we say that you standardize the interviewer. That means uh, the interviewers should all be asking the same question the same way. So if, say, supposingly I and Vasant have been trained as enumerators, both of us have to be interchangeable. That means if I go, I get the same information. If Vasant goes, then Vasant should get the same information. So you have to standardize the interviewer, that look, you are supposed to go and ask questions to the people, but you cannot be, you have to make them comfortable. You have to make them have faith in you, but then you cannot start forming a personal, like, you do not become too personal. And because that will there are chances that bias might you might get bias, which will affect your results after all. You standardize the response format. That means the questionnaire has to be very standardized. You cannot, that's the reason that yesterday also we were talking about face validity. Today in the morning we were talking about face validity, that you go for face validity. That means the questionnaire, the instruments that you have to go and get it validated from the experts. You send it to the experts and you get it validated, that okay, this is what the instrument is, so that it gets standardized. Ask questions in social, cultural, and economic context. So if you're talking to us, like, the way you speak to people, the um like, what should I say, the courtesy of talking to people in every language, in every place, it differs. Like in some places it'll be mandatory for you to call people sir and madam. In some places people won't like you calling them sir or madam. In certain places you can go and you can talk to them as uncle and auntie, and in some places you can't go and talk to people by calling them uncle and auntie. They'll feel offended by it. So the social thing, the cultural thing, the economic context, all of these things matter a lot. Keep confidentiality and voluntary participation. Again, that is where what I said, you have to win the trust of the people. And that is the reason that what we say is that when you are choosing your enumerators, choose local people. Always choose people who are very much aware about the demography, people who are very much aware of the topography, people who know the culture, the language, the lifestyle. They know that. So if you pick somebody from there and you then ask them to go and collect the questions, that will be much easier, because then people also have a faith in that. Like we were talking about the tribals here. So if you're going to a tribal area, it's always the best advice is that pick out a tribal and ask that person to go and collect the data for you, because they will feel that okay, he's one of us. So they'll be much more happier to share the information with him or her rather than with a person whom they do not know. And the final thing is that you always need a letter of introduction. You need to let people know that, okay, you belong to this organization, because again, it's again boils down to the faith that you have. Right. So, okay. Any questions? Any observations to be made so far? Anything that you people want to say?
No, ma'am, all good. Thank you.
All good. Okay. Right. Let us proceed then. Now, format of the questions. Now, he was, I think, I suppose Usman was talking about those open-ended and close-ended things. So, what are open-ended and close-ended questions? Uh, like open-ended are where you are asking people to be uh, you are giving them the freedom to answer. You are not prompting an answer to them, so you want an open. So again, it depends on the objective that you have, that for what you are wanting. So in some cases you want an elaborative answer to it, so you keep your question. So what are your expectations from this workshop or from this class? So that can be a very open ended, because I don't want you to give me a star rating, or I don't want. So I'm just asking you that, okay, let me know how are you feeling in the class. Just give me a feedback on that. So everybody can write, say, 100 words, 200 words, and that's an open enough thing. Whereas a close-ended is like, was this workshop required? Are these classes required? So a yes or a no. So that becomes a close-ended question. Then comes your choice and measurement of responses. That now, what are you talking about? So the measurement, the scale of measurement, basically, that what we are talking about. So you've got nominal or categorical choices. So that means you are just categorizing your data. You're just putting them into certain boxes, and you are saying that, okay, gender, you're talking about area, you're talking about language, you talk about region. So that is nominal data. Ordinal is basically when you're ranking your things, when you're ranking the data. So you ask like regarding these classrooms, supposingly Dr. Smriti floats a questionnaire, a feedback form to you people, where she asks you to rate all the teachers that are going to take these classes for you, uh, on a scale of, say, 1 to 5 on various parameters. So it can be like the fluency of the language, the content of the class, the presentation, the examples given. So then if you're ranking them, say, from 1 to 5, so that becomes an ordinal scale. Numerical, you all know, numerical is basically the numbers that we are talking about. So now, what are the points to be noted here? So we say that ask purposeful questions. The questions have to have certain purpose, there has to be certain meaning to it. Ask concrete questions. Ask questions which are specific, which have got some meaning, which have got some implications there. Use time periods based on importance of the questions. That, okay, there are certain parts where you need to rush, there are certain parts where you need to give the respondent the time to think, to gather their thoughts, and then ask there. Always use conventional language. Never use uh, the official language, so to say, in the sense that you have to be, you cannot be rude, you cannot drop the your what's the term, like okay, okay, like you have, whenever you're talking to people, you need to make them, um you cannot be disrespectful to them, but that doesn't mean that you put them in a pedestal while you're speaking to them. So act normal. Use complete sentences. Always use, never use abbreviations. Never leave out a question. Always make it clear, specific. Write the entire thing. Review the questions with experts and potential respondents. So you are doing the phase testing at two stages. One is when you are sending your questionnaire to the experts, and you ask them to vet the questionnaire for you, and you want an expert opinion from them. And secondly, you do a pilot study. So that is the potential respondents that you have. So you go to those a few people, say generally we say that the 10% of your sample is fair enough for doing a pilot. So if your sample is 500, so you go and speak to uh, uh, 50 people. That's more than enough. So you go and talk to them. Use shorter questions. Never make a question very lengthy, because then the person might forget the first part of it. So make it smaller. If you think that, okay, it's getting too long, or like the short question is not making like it is not extracting all the information that you want, then break down your long question into smaller sub questions. That, okay, if yes, then what? If yes, if no, then what? So then that's much easier to understand, to comprehend, and to answer. uh Okay, so till here, this was all about the data thing, about, sorry, about the sampling thing. Any questions? Anything? Any remarks? Any questions?
No, ma'am, not from me.
Okay,
No questions.
it's all Farida. It's too much of talking happening.
No. It's
No,
okay.
no, it's okay. All right, yeah, because uh, every day do you people have two classes, or is it only today?
Only during weekends, ma'am.
All right. You people don't have classes during the week?
Weekdays, yes, as from Thursday.
All right. Acha.
Yeah,
Fine.
and sometimes on Wednesday. I think this because we missed one class on Thursday. This Wednesday we're gonna have a replacement class.
All right. Okay. So fine. Because taking a 4-hour class on statistics, it takes a lot of uh, what, like a lot of energy is required there. Right. So let's start with time series now. Time series data that is there. This is also known as longitudinal data, right? So basically, when you are arranging your data on the basis of time, so that is time series data. So that time that you are taking for the data can be like on an annual basis, it can be monthly basis, it can be weekly basis, it can be anything. So whenever you are taking that like you're placing your data in terms of time, so that becomes your time series data. And as in the second point very clearly points out, that one of the variables is time. So it can be, as I said, year, fortnight, week, daily, monthly, whatever you are taking. And so it's always a cause and effect relationship. And time series data is also used a lot for forecasting. So we use for forecasting purpose, we use this data a lot. So okay, this is mm, so you have got number of milk number of packets of milk sold from Monday to Sunday for any of the brands, whichever is the popular brand in your country. So you can talk about that. Vasant, which is the most popular brand in your country for milk?
For milk, we have one which is Anchor from New Zealand.
Okay, it comes all the way from New Zealand.
Yes, gets imported from there. Most of our powdered milk, yeah.
No, and
We tried to bring Amul quite a few years back, but then
okay.
I think there was some issue with yeah, and then they stopped doing Amul. But we are trying to bring it back again. Some
And
people are working on it.
what about your this the fresh milk, the liquid milk, like the
Uh,
milk, not the powdered milk?
uh, Liquid milk. There's one which is called Candia, also
Candia.
from yeah, Candia from New Zealand. Yeah,
Oh, okay. You don't
Oh,
have
we
any
have
local brand?
local, local people who rear cows, so we
Hmm.
have fresh milk from them as well.
Okay, but that's not pasteurized.
No, no.
All right. Okay. Because in India we have got a lot of pasteurization units, and yeah, we get a lot of pasteurized milk here. And we are the largest producers of milk in the world, and anyway, so
Okay.
right, yeah. And then so this is one example. The milk one is one example. The second is your population, which every country does. Like I suppose every country has a decadal estimation of population, which is the census that happens. So this is again an example of that. Then in the there are four components or four parts to the time series data that you have. So it's the secular trend, the cyclical fluctuations, seasonal variations, and irregular variation. So these are the four parts or the four components that you have of time series. What is a secular trend basically? So a secular trend is it is just taking the data, the time series data, and just looking at the trend of it, that you just plot your data, the actual data against time, and then you see how it is moving. So like this is the happiness rank that we have of India from 2015 to 2021. So you can see that it was almost constant between 2015 2016. There was a slight increase in 2017, and then onwards it went up till 2020, and then it has again declined in 2021. So this is what a secular trend is all about. This is what it tells. Then you've got seasonal variation. Seasonal variation is that when the data changes according to the season. So all the businesses which are season based things, like say tourism is there, your clothing is there, like winter wear. You've got winter wear, you've got summer wear, you've got autumn wear, and the rainy wear. So very seasonal things that you have. So so that is the seasonal variations. So from the in the time series you can come to know about those seasonal variations. This is an example that I just took of a seasonal variation. This is cloth, the like the warm garment market in India. This is how it looks like. This is the roadside stalls that you have, which are selling a lot of jackets and mufflers and caps and all those woolens. So this is seasonal. These you can see a lot of these shops only in the winters, and then in the summers they're all gone and doing some other business. Then you've got the cyclical variations. Now from the business perspective, this is very very important, because and from the country's perspective, like from both from the economy's point of view also, this is a very important diagram known as the convertive cycle. And from the business point of view also, because every business will certainly go through this. And then you've got these irregular variations, which are basically where we are talking about like there's no specific reason to it, that why this is happening. So this is also known as the residual variation. That means you from the time series thing, you deduct the secular trend, the seasonal trend, the cyclical thing, and then whatever is left out is your irregular variations that are taking place. So I'll stop my class here. I'll stop it for today here. uh, I think so I've shared uh, ample amount of information with you people today. We'll stop the class. Any doubts, any questions you have? Otherwise I'll close the session. Anything, any particular thing?
I have question about irregular variation.
Yeah, go ahead, Mohammed.
The word erratic or erratic, what does it actually mean?
Irregular.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Okay, all right, fine. Any other question? Okay, thank you so much for being kind enough to
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
yeah, thank you. So I